So moving along, so my name is Ryan Harold. I'm the project contact for the CoFFEE Fund. See here, phone number, email. If any questions come up after this webinar, feel free to call me at any time. I know we'll probably go through a lot of the material rather quickly, so a lot of questions will come up after. You know, I'm always around to answer any questions on it. So moving on. So what we're doing here is new webinar system. I'm still working out all the little features on it, but we are going to be recording it, and it's going to be available on our CoFFEE website, which is mass.gov/dcam/CoFFEE. Same with this slide presentation, and any questions and answers that we get during this or after. I'm going to put together a huge Q&A list because sometimes I can't answer all the questions at once, or sometimes they require more detailed or more thoughtful answers that are much easier put in question written form that I can email out to everyone on this. I have everyone's contact information. It's much easier doing it that way, but feel free to chime in with any questions at any time, or use the little chat box or question box if anything comes up. Of course, here's my contact info again, always available for any questions you may have at any point. During this or after, always available to talk. Talking about this program, so moving along. What we're going to go over today, just a quick background on the CoFFEE program, how it came about, some of the timeline and deadlines of the program. I'm going to go through the screening and selection criteria overview, which is kind of two distinct things, the screening and the selection. But I will go over that. Additionally, the main kind of thing I want to go over is kind of the application or the review process, and mainly how to fill out and submit the application, and then some of the financial questions go through. That's the brief overview of what we're looking to accomplish here in the next 45 minutes or so. The brief background. This really the CoFFEE concept came out of a intern or a fellowship that we had here at DCAM and DOER summer of 2013. What they're really looking to do is, a revolving loan fund that could be applied to state, building energy efficiency projects. There's all these short projects, short payback, small projects all over the state that need to be done. And we never really had a good way to finance these projects. A lot of them were financed through bond bills that could be 10 or 20 years worth of interest, and it didn't seem to make sense if a project can pay for itself in a couple of years to be paying the interest on that for over a 10-year or even 20-year period. So this is where this green revolving loan fund came about between DCAM, DOER. The fellow applied for a grant, a Department of Energy federal grant, was awarded. Federal grant pays for consultants, and then my position to kind of create this program and run it. DCAM came in with seed money of $500,000, so that's what we have to actually give out. The $500,000 came basically from utility checks that come in. So the $500,000 is not financed in any way by the state, so there's no interest on this $500,000. It really just came in from utility rebate checks from any of the investor-owned utilities. This program really started to get developed over the summer and into the fall, and this is kind of the main group that's been helping me on every step of the way, developing the program application, the selection criteria, how we're going to market this program, how we're going to do the outreach, and every step of the way. I would meet with this team here, and they would give me their feedbacks and criticisms, because a lot of different perspectives, a lot of different agencies were chiming in because we really want to make this, an effective program. So any, different views that we could get, we wanted to get. Here's a list, and even internal with our DCAM offices here, with all the kind of small administrative stuff that goes on here, everyone has chimed in. So when we actually released it now, a lot of the bugs and a lot of the problems have been worked through and discussed ahead of time. Key target dates, big one is the application due date, which is March 24th. I know this webinar was a little delayed, but we're still on track to hit that March 24th date to get the application submitted for anyone that is interested in the program to submit the applications by that date. Reason why we have March 24th is it's going to take the application review process is going to be done by that PMO team you just saw on the previous slide. That's going to take a few weeks, and to get the usual DCAM approval, we think it's going to take about a month, and then we give an extra week for any delays. That puts us into May, when we like to select the projects and get the funds out by the end of May, which will be done through an ISA. Reason we want to kind of hit that May 28th date, because the fiscal year ends obviously on June 30th, or June at the end of 2015. So we really want to get the funds out before that 3 or 4 week period at the end of the fiscal year, when there's a lot of financial transactions going on. So we really want to get ahead of that so the money's out and the projects can start to get underway. Couple benefits, just go through this part quickly. When we're thinking about, we wanted to make it something affordable. We wanted to set it up so the repayment, you're always at least getting 15% of the savings each year stays with the facility. There's no interest, but we're working on a small administrative fee, which I can explain later, because we just want to keep up with inflation and then to keep with some of the administrative costs of running this. Flexible, varied payback terms. We really want to work with the facility to see how how they want to repay this. Maybe they want to repay it back quickly, maybe spread it out. I think it's really going to depend on the project payback period, and all projects are going to be different. So we really want to work with the facility to come up with a good plan for the repayment. Of course, so it can always be used if I think we come up with a good program working with the facilities. They'll be happy with the repayment plan, and we'll be able to continue to use this program each year. Obviously, it's sustainable. The savings are going to keep replenishing this fund so we can keep loaning out for new projects. And it's accountable. We want to make sure that everything's done, with checks and balances. And obviously, we want to reduce costs, utility usage, environmental impacts is overall our main goal. We really want to target, reducing the utility bills for the agency. That's the main part of this whole program. Of course, we really want to make it simple as possible. They got to take government. There's a lot of administrative things we have to go through, and we really try to cut down as many steps as we could, make it easy for the facilities and easy for us to manage. So brief on the process. Obviously, center one there is CoFFEE. That's the $500,000. That's the main fund. We're looking for you guys to submit these applications. We pick the best ones to fund. Maybe it's 10 different projects. We send the money out. The funds, are used to install these ECMs that facilities have identified. Once those ECMs are installed, you're going to see your energy bills go down. So relationships, your cost savings are going to go up. We're going to use, 85% of that savings that you get to replenish the fund each year, so we can continue to loan out the money for more projects, and the process continues. Because quick overview of how the revolving loan fund works, but it's a pretty simple process. So CoFFEE eligible projects, really anything that saves energy. Here's just a list that we put together, but it's not extensive. There might be something on here. You have different ideas or some type of new technology that we didn't mention here. Anything that really saves, that has a measurable save of energy, we would be open for. Even renewables, I know those projects tend to go much higher cost-wise. We're really looking for projects under between the $10,000 and $90,000 range that we want to give out for CoFFEE funds per project. However, that doesn't mean you have a larger renewable project and the CoFFEE can maybe pay for part of it. Maybe it's a $500,000 project and we can give the $90,000 towards it. So really trying to be flexible with what type of projects and the size that we can fund. But what CoFFEE can do is that $10,000 to $90,000 range.
Oh, absolutely.
Usually cover all of a project or part of a larger project.
It would be net.
Yes.
Loss.
Briefly on just the selection process, we get a pool of projects and a pool of application. Doesn't meet our screening criteria, which I'll go over in the next slide. If not, we'll go back to facility and let them know what they're missing. How can they improve their application so they can resubmit it. We definitely don't want to kick anyone out the first submittal. I'll be available and, to go over how they can improve or what they're missing. Once it doesn't meet the screening criteria, we have a project selection criteria, which is 2 slides ahead. Uses different factors, so we really want to get a good group of projects that save energy and will be able to refund or repay the fund each year, so we can continue to do this. So the first part is that screening criteria. Right when we get in the applications, to me, we really want to look at kind of these 5 things. Project champion, since these projects are going to be managed by the facility mainly. Really want someone, what we call the project champion, someone to really, take on the project, who can be the dedicated person, who can handle the procurement, handle the funds being transferred. We want, someone who's actively involved and, can be our main point person, and will be, kind of in charge of handling the project. Of course, economics. This is, a revolving loan fund. We really wanted to meet that kind of less than 5-year payback, so we can continually replenish the CoFFEE fund each year. So we're really looking for projects under that 5-year payback. Baseline energy data. We really want to make sure that you have a way to track this data where you could provide us with the utility bills, or if you already using the MEI, or I know some sites are on the EAN system, something like that, so we can actually measure what you're using now. And then in the future we can see what this fund is actually, or what the project is actually saving you. Existing conditions, savings potential. We really want to know that you understand the facility, what your lighting system is now, and what you want to put in, or if you want to put in motors, what the conditions of the motors are now, and then the type that you want to put in. Sometimes that can be captured just in an audit report if you have an audit done. A lot of this information will be right in there. And of course, supporting documentation. If you're getting matching funds from your agency or utility company, or you have an audit already done, we really want to see that information. So moving along, once you kind of get past that screening part, so we have a good group of projects. Since we're only kind of limited with that 500,000, it goes quick. We really have to pick which, what's the best projects to fund with the limited funds we have with the 500,000. Really the biggest thing is back to that payback period. We have it at about 35% of the weight, just because we want to make sure that these projects can pay for themselves over 3 or 4 year period, and also pay back the funds so we continue to do more projects. And we think that kind of that payback period will kind of helps the smaller sized projects. Total resource benefit, what we're actually getting out of it. If the project is saving, a lot of kilowatt hours, a lot of therms, a lot of water, we can calculate just a monetary value, and I think that will help kind of benefit some of the larger projects. Confidence in timing. We want to, once we get this money out to facilities, want to make sure they can implement these projects fairly quickly. So we have a spot in the application that, that allows, when do you think you can get this project done? What's the feasibility, what problems you might run into, or is it a pretty straightforward project? You already have maybe a vendor lined up, you already have the audit done. That will help with us being confident you can meet the timeline. Of course, the other part, non-energy benefits, anything, maybe it helps the maintenance, reduces the maintenance on your building. Increased lighting might help with productivity of the people in the office, or if you're maybe just doing a retro commissioning project and it helps balance the heating, cooling, so people are comfortable all year round. That stuff, it's not, you can't really measure that stuff exactly with the money savings, but it's very important for us, so we want to see that documented. And there's a spot in the application which I'll go through that you can put all this information in. Also, education value, innovation. We're always looking for new projects, new type of technology that can benefit. That we really want to include that. If you have a new technology, I know we did some burner boosters over the summer that we hadn't done before, and they've saved a lot of oil, stuff like that. It's just something new. It hasn't been done. That's innovative, and can provide some type of educational value. We really want to look at that. So basically, how to fill out and submit the application. It's all Excel based. You can attach files right to the program, right to the application. So what I'll do is let me just switch screens here real quick. Go right into
So Everett's not coming in advance. Jerry's coming. He's bringing me back. He's working in advance. He doesn't get vice president. Let's get the bargain a little bit, didn't we?
Take a second to switch over here.
So who is your security force?
So basically, this is, if you want to get the application, I know I've sent out some links, but it's basically, you can get it right off the mass.gov website. It's just mass.gov/dcam/CoFFEE. Put that in mass.gov. It'll come right up. And if you scroll down to the bottom, here's a little more info on the program. And right here, the download the application, the download the signature page.
So I probably wasn't.
Well, it's their number one.
Yeah.
Unless they listen alphabetically, but I don't think so.
So this will come up once you download it. This one I've already filled out some of the numbers just because it's better visual when you have some of the numbers in there. So this is kind of the main screen, kind of gives you overview of what we've gone over, some of the screening criteria, the selection criteria, and all this will be posted on the website, where you can always, if you want to refer to it really quickly, it'll be right on this CoFFEE overview and instructions page.
I'm just not sure what.
And down here at the bottom, has a little bit more instructions, but basically only the white cells are the ones that you need to fill out. Anything in green will calculate by itself, so you don't have to worry about the green. But anything in white are required inputs, or if it's not applicable, you can just skip over that part. This is a little nice feature here. I know you can scroll down at the bottom. Of course, you can use that, or you can use any of these to move around real quick. I don't know where that is. Bring it to any page. So the next one is reference sheet. This one is just kind of goes over some of the ECMs that wouldn't require, a comprehensive energy audit. If you're just doing lighting or, vending misers, stuff like that, we wouldn't be looking for, a comprehensive energy audit. We would definitely want some type of assessment that shows what kind of cost and savings would be involved with this.
If you're doing just doing lighting, you wouldn't need a comprehensive energy audit.
Moving on, general information, total project cost.
Which is the savings.
Yeah.
This one is set up that the $71,000 is a total project cost, but here you're only looking for the $56,000. The difference here would be the utility company is paying the difference there. So the total project cost, and then here just what you're actually looking for from the CoFFEE program. Pretty straightforward application date, your agency, secretariat. Here we're trying to get as many contacts, facilities manager, who's going to be handling the financing, the ISA, and then the repayment. So we can, and then any additional contacts. Maybe there's the person filling out the application is different than the facility manager. So that's where we're going to try to capture as many people involved in this process. Same thing, the site name, the address, CAMUS building code, site code. And I know we have this new CAMUS project number, which I believe you might not have it ahead of time, but we want to spot in here because believe you will get a Canvas project number for each one of these projects that are being done, and we can always
Yeah, wouldn't do
enter
it.
that later if you don't have it up front.
That's a business model that lasts one cycle.
Unless it's the energy.
Going up to this part, utility rates, you get these directly from your utility bills. Just type, can type right in there. It changes to whatever, because I know different rates for different towns. So, and then it goes to, kilowatt hour, oil, gas is done by therms, propane's by gallon. We did switch to water. It's kilogallons only because this is the way this program's set up. If you save 100,000 gallons, it kind of throws off some of our numbers just with the scaling at using 100,000. So anything just a kilogallons is 1,000. This and the rate you can get right from your utility bills. If you don't have it, there's averages you can get, or we do have that we could send out if you can't find your exact rates. Same thing going down here. We want to capture the utility data. Your utility company. I know some cell buildings have multiple account numbers and meters. You can enter as many numbers here. Just separated by a comma. You can enter these numbers. This is important because if we can't find your site within the Mass Energy Insight system, we can take these numbers and actually put it into the Mass Energy Insight, and it will develop. It will pull your previous bill so we can track it that way. So this part's important to get these account numbers in here. And these drop down to electric, gas, and if you have any additional documents you want to provide, you can attach it on here. Kind of going down the supporting documentation part, comprehensive energy audit, or kind of that abbreviated assessment. If you're just doing a simple lighting upgrade, you wouldn't need a full comprehensive energy audit. We would like to know, if you have it, what's the date, what company did it. Same here, if there's any utility rebates involved, what's the estimated amount, and any details. Sometimes we've been getting these commitment letters. So it says NSTAR utility rebate commitment letter. This is what it's dated. This is the amount, $15,214. And there's a spot at the end of the application to actually attach that. Same thing here. It's important for us to try to track this energy. We really want to be able to see what you're using now and what we're actually saving you through this program. So if you use Mass Energy Insight or EAMS, or some agencies have their own way of tracking the energy use. So we really want to know how you track it. And if you don't track it, just enter no, and we can put these utility account numbers into Mass Energy Insight, and then we'll be able to track it that way. Big question that's come up a lot is kind of, what is this program, how is it different from the AEP? I know a lot of your sites have had AEP projects, completed or ongoing or for the future. CoFFEE is kind of in addition to all those projects. All the AEP projects that are going on and are scheduled at your sites are, going to continue. The CoFFEE is kind of to make up for, things that wasn't done through some of the AEP projects. I know we did a large comprehensive project at one of the prisons, multi-million-dollar projects. But once they started thinking about their energy use, new projects came on. They maybe missed the motors, or it didn't fit within the pricing. This is kind of where the CoFFEE comes in, kind of what your facility needs to do that might not have been done through the AEP, or maybe was identified in one of the AEP projects, but we were limited to how much money we could spend on it. So everything that's kind of been done in AEP, and that's all going to continue. It's kind of, it's just another way for your facility to upgrade, and save energy. So if you had a project done there, we can always look it up. But if you have the numbers, what was done, estimated amount, just so it's easier for us to find it right there. We have all the information, but if you can provide, just easier for us to find it that way. Of course, if you have any other plans, AEP projects or any other type of upgrades, we would love to know about it. Put in here, just so we're not duplicating any efforts. This part down here, case study, what we like to do is, once some of these projects are actually implemented, we would love to do a write-up, what the costs were, what the savings are, maybe take some pictures of, the lighting system before or after, or the old motors and the new motors, and get some, comments from the facility managers, just so we can kind of document what was been done, and really just, track everything, and kind of, it's nice to have the numbers, but kind of having like a visual of what was done, and, kind of a more personal feel. So if you're interested in the case study, it's not going to take too much, not a big commitment on anyone's part. Moving along to the building information part, is really want to know, we kind of already captured some of it on the first page, but of course building name, square footage, any building descriptions. If you already have an audit done, a lot of this information is there. You can use this. Please describe the source. It might be energy audit. There's more details in there. You can see energy audit. But of course we want to capture, what your usage, kWh is, therms, if you're using oil or propane, just so we can track, the site usage, the cost of energy, cost of water, greenhouse gases. So anything in the green here will automatically calculate. You don't have to worry about those numbers. You could change it here. You could see those numbers will automatically adjust to whatever your usage is. So anything in the green will automatically calculate. If your site doesn't use oil, you can leave it blank or put in a 0. It's not going to change anything.
That's what's coming in.
Some of you familiar with kind of the AEP audit template. This is set up very similar. We wanted to keep the familiarity there. We didn't want to recreate anything that's already been done, and a lot of facilities are familiar with looking at. So this is kind of a modified version of the AEP audit template that was put together by our consultant. So same thing, anything in the white here, you would fill in building name, measure type. So you can see there's a little drop-down menu, all the different measures. If for some reason what you want to do is not in there, there's always that kind of box at the bottom that kind of captures everything. A lot of the time this information will also be in the energy audit, so it doesn't have to be too comprehensive to put in here. We can always give a brief description, or have something, see energy audit attached. Same here, estimated installation cost, and then the utility incentives involved. There's the 71 is kind of the total project cost. The 15,000 is what's committed from the kind of the utility companies.
So they give me energy incentives anyways.
Did I hear a question there?
Yes.
Can you repeat it? Sorry, I thought I heard a question. Of course, if you guys have any questions coming up, feel free to let me know, or you can type it right in this question chat box on the right side of this little interactive screen it's on there. I will follow up with any of those in kind of a written form. Any questions and answers I can try to answer here, but definitely I'll write them up in a question form and put a more thoughtful, more detailed answer and emailed out to everybody. Go through, so this stuff comes right from the whatever energy audit or abbreviated assessment was done. What the savings are, both electricity savings, gas savings. Of course, here we go to everything in the green here is, again, that automatically calculates based on the information you put in here. And it's calculating the savings right from those numbers that you entered on the first page, your actual utility costs. So it should be pretty accurate in the cost and savings, and then it comes back to your payback here. So anything in the green, you don't have to worry about, that automatically calculates. So moving on to the next slide, what we call the project narrative. This is kind of, we really want to get all kind of the details of the project that can't just be captured in, in cost and savings. Of course, up here is a green, total project cost is at 71,000. But what we're looking, and then the actual CoFFEE, what you want from us is this 56, because the difference there is that utility rebate. I know some agencies can't accept the utility rebates, and then if they come to DCAM, that's fine. That's something we can discuss and work out kind of in the project financing. So, that utility rebate would come here and it would offset. It would knock down what you need to repay down to that 56. Of course, have you secured or are you planning on applying any other sources of funding? And maybe it could be that utility rebates, or maybe you have some type of match funding from your agency, or something already in your budget that you're going to use. Of course, we're always looking for here, that 5-year kind of payback or less is what we're looking for. And if you saw, if we go back just to this measures tab real quick, you can put multiple ECMs just on one. So it could be, we have the lighting, the EMS, domestic water, and VFDs all in one application. Some of them are 6-year payback. Some are 1.8. Then if you go to the bottom, average it out, it's 3.28. So we're really looking for overall, so you can combine maybe higher payback ECMs with lower payback, but we're looking kind of for the average to be under that 5 years. So back to this project narrative section, project management kind of goes back to that project champion. Who's going to be is there going to be someone dedicated to this project who's going to kind of oversee it from the application stage, and then once we send out the money to procuring the the vendor to do the work. We want to have that information here. It might be already captured on the first page, so you can just say see information on first page if it's there. If it's someone different, we really want to capture it here again. Of course, there's going to be there's the finance part of this when we're sending funds out via ISA, and the funds will have to come back each year as part of the savings. So we really want to have a discussion with the finance manager. Well have everything so everyone understands all the parameters and how the kind of the accounting kind of repayment schedule works. So that's where the finance manager, again, it could already have been captured on the first page. It's just another spot that we have on here. Project schedule. For you guys, really kind of, you can see we highlighted in this red, we really want these projects to be done within 1 year of actually getting the funds. So you receive the funds end of May or beginning of June. We like to see the project completed the following year. Some of them might be completed in a very short amount of time, but kind of that 1 year is where we're limited to get these projects completed, just with because we really want to have some of the savings come back into the fund so we can fund more projects. Then on here we do in months timeline when after you get the funds, how long do you think you can actually start the project? Maybe it's 2 months, 3 months, and then same thing after the project is completed. Timeline of anticipate when the project can actually be completed. Keep going along, procurement, section. Where we look at here is if you're familiar with all the procurement laws. Massachusetts, if really want to stay, I know the MAAB requirements are very important. Usually these projects are going to be pretty small, so I don't see triggering any MAAB requirements. We just want to make sure that everyone's up on those requirements. They could provide all the details, but I think everyone's pretty familiar with them. I don't see any issues since these projects are going to be fairly small, but we just want to make sure we're in line with any of the requirements of Massachusetts. Of course, if you already, maybe you will be using the same contractor that did your energy audit, or if you have different contractors in mind, if you already know who that's going to be, we really want to capture that in the application. If they're already certified in green communities, we want to know that. And also, if the project manager, identified in here, has gone through the proper, procurement licensing or procurement program courses that are required. We put a little link here just to give you some more information, just to check what those requirements are. Excuse me. As mentioned before, these are those two selection criteria that we talked about, the education value and innovation part, where you can put in all your comments. What type of educational benefits, or maybe you're using a new technology. You can put that information in the comments, or you can attach. Maybe you have the cut sheets, or you have, a different description that you can't fit in the comment section, you can attach it to this application. Same with the non-energy benefits, reduced operating costs, maintenance, increases the productivity, just makes the lighting better. And that stuff you really can't capture just within the cost and savings number. You can put in this comment section again, or if you have, more information, there's a spot in here where you can actually attach that document. So you can just here, write in, see attached document, and we'll have it all. Going on to summary tab, as you can see here, everything's in green. So all this is already calculated from all the information that you provided. And it kind of gives you a good chance to review everything, just to make sure the numbers make sense. Your payback.
We don't have to hang out.
It's not green, it's a loan.
Your payback, everything is here is in line. Everything kind of looks right. Kind of gives you easily, if you wanted to print this out, you print it out and maybe go over with people in your office just as a one-page that captures almost everything that we just did in the last 4 blue tabs.
You can get those, right?
And
And you see over here on the right side, expected annual savings.
I'm not sure how this is going to be better. If it is going to be better, it's going to be that much.
So the estimated, so obviously this is a revolving loan fund. There's going to be a repayment option or a repayment requirement for roughly worth like 85% of the savings. So here, this is what you would be paying back, the 14,562, but estimated net annual savings to your facility would be the 2,500. So you're obviously, you're paying back 14,000 a year, but you're also saving 17,132. So the net's around 2,500. We do the 85, percent of that just to give a kind of a buffer on the savings. It could, the savings could be less or they could be more. But if we put it at 85%, I think that's a good industry standard that we found.
Better?
Going on to the last tab here is kind of the send application part. This is where the signature page, which I can go over, you just click on here and you just attach it. Go through any of your files to find the signature page, and you just click open and then attach. I can attach it through the webinar, but you can see the audit attachments right here, and any additional attachments you want. You can just click on it, find the file here, and click on attach, and it'll put it right in here for you. And then once everything's complete, you click on the submit application tab, which will submit everything here plus all these attachments all in one document. Work has been saved, gives you another chance just to double check, and then you click on yes. You get a little box here just because it's accessing your email to send out, and you allow it, and that's it, and it'll go right to me. This application as well as all those attachments will come right to me, and I can, as soon as I get it, I'll follow up with a confirmation email. And of course, for some reason, if you don't, not sure if it's sent or not, you can always just save it and email the document to me, and I'll double check it. And so there's 2 ways. It's conform. We did this so it's easier. Everything can be captured in one spot. Of course, I know I went through the application fairly quickly, but of course, any questions on the application on how to fill it out, or if you're stuck on one part or something's not calculating, you can always call me and I can walk you through it pretty easily. One thing I briefly wanted to go over was this signature page. I will pull it up.
Let me see. I'll take a check on. I'm going to have to do one that way, one that way.
So this you can also find right on our website. Basically, there's a couple things. We just want to make sure that you know that the funds are going to be sent out through an ISA. So you have agreeing that's how the funds will be sent to you. Also, of course, there's probably going to be additional documentation, additional talks between our office and in the finance department in your office, so everyone's on the same page. We really want to make sure this has kind of been reviewed with whoever may handle kind of the financial part of this. Of course, I know some agencies, number 3, can accept rebate checks. Others can. I think some of the universities can. So that's something we would also discuss, where's that rebate money come? If the rebate comes to DCAM, obviously we would take that off of what would, come right off the CoFFEE balance. Or if you keep that, then we would just send, funds less what you would get from the utility rebate. We want to make sure really here that you're following any procurement laws. This is normal. If you can reference here the 25A, Section 11. We want to make sure you're with any of the applicable, procurement laws, and also same with, disposing of hazardous material. All that information I can provide in more detail. We just have this to make sure that, it's being reviewed and they understand that program just follows any of the Massachusetts laws on procurement. And this also can be, signed and attached right to the document. So a little bit kind of briefly on the financial projects. As soon as the project is selected, you'll be obviously notified, and then that's kind of where we get either, in person or either phone call to kind of discuss the repayment plan, how it's set up, how the ISA is going to work, so everyone's kind of on the same page well ahead of time of any of the ISAs being, submitted. That's where any questions, come up, how the money is going to come back. I know mostly we're going to do it through ISAs each year. If I know some agencies and universities can actually cut checks to DCAM, that's another option. But all the money would come back to DCAM and go right into our CoFFEE fund to be used to be sent out. What we're looking for, the actual time frame of money to actually be submitted back to us, is starting in fiscal year 2017. That kind of ties into the timeline we've been talking about, that we want to get the application submitted by end of March so we can review them. Any questions out, get the money out so these projects can start on time in the summer, get the money out before the end of this fiscal year, just so you have that full year to actually implement the projects and then start seeing the savings forward, get into the repayment part of it, which would be, as discussed, we set it up so it would be 85% of the annual savings. Of course, if some agencies might want to be more aggressive in their repayment plan and want to actually pay more, that's something we could work out in that kind of that in-person or phone call kind of repayment schedule.
That's what I'm talking about. This is the chair back, right? Yep. Probably have 2 of them, 3 of them.
So the other question we've received a lot is kind of just kind of the fees associated with this program. So there's no interest, but we do have small administrative costs that average about 6% of the total project cost. So it's not 6% a year for the whole project, and that covers basically the inflation costs. So we don't want the fund to erode each year from the inflation. So we definitely want to keep up with that. And some of our administrative costs comes out to about 6% of the total project on there. And the way that we would capture it is almost make each year have, instead of, we would only be paying yearly, but we would add that small for each year. Say if you're making 4 yearly payments, we would do basically like another 1/12 of that payment. So it'd be basically like if you were paying 13 months of it each year instead of 12. So it comes out to, I think, right around 6%. But all that would be, broken out for you. It's to put it visual. It's not a good visual way to do it, but to go through individual projects, it makes more sense, and all that would be discussed, well before, any of the ISAs are executed, so everyone understand what's involved. But just a brief answer on the fees: it's about 6% of the total project cost, not 6% a year or 6% on the balance, 6% on the total project cost, kind of broken up for each year. If it's 4-year payback, or if you're paying it over 4 years, that 6% would be spread out over those 4 years. Going through. So I think that's kind of wrapping up. Does anyone have any questions that I can answer now? Or if you want to, here's my contact information. You can always, email me the questions or call me directly. What I will be doing is taking any questions we get, and putting in the question form and then providing detailed answers and then emailing that out to everybody. So feel free to, to call me or just email me with any questions at any point. We'd love to, any feedback or if you just have feedback or any ways you think we can improve it or something that's you feel is missing or something that we might run into, let us know. We could see if we can, address it as far ahead of time as possible. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah, again, if you have any questions, you can feel free to call me or just shoot me an email right after this. I know it might not be the best system to send the questions through.
Thank you very much.
So one of the questions I got is kind of on that building tab, which I'll send out a more detailed answer, is kind of, how important is it, if it's a large campus, if you don't have down to the building data, which is, I think, probably a lot of people run into this. So I think the best way is if you can, provide some type of estimate on the building level. Definitely provide us with all the data you have. It might not be at the building level, but if there's estimates that can be made based on, the building size, the energy intensity, of the size of the building, or if you can get any feedback from any auditors that you have on how to, get an estimate on, just the building use instead of, because a lot of times you won't have it for the entire, just for the building. It might be for several buildings. So I'm going to look into a couple different options on the best way to handle that, and I can, I will email that question out.
I don't know if I do the envelope audits. I don't really have that information.
So one part.
Audit ahead of time or plan ahead of time. Costs.
Another question I have here is if a list of the CoFFEE projects will be that get approved will be available for everyone to see. We'll put together, what projects are selected, maybe their cost, savings, a little bit about the project. So all that will be, as soon as we select them all, we'll put together a list of all the details on that so you can see, what was selected and, how maybe your project or your application could improve or, what we're exactly looking for. So we'll definitely make all that information available. Yeah, on the rate, we're looking for, the combination of the commodity and delivery charge. So that, that total number. There. Okay, so I think that's all the questions that I've gotten so far through this tab. But again, feel free to to call me or to email me. Any of the questions that I've answered on here, also as mentioned, put together questions in a more detailed answer and send that out to everybody, so they'll have that. And I think, so I'm not getting any more questions. So thank everyone for attending. As mentioned, we're going to put this webinar right up on our website. as well as the question and answers at mass.gov/dcam/coffee. Probably look for that early next week, just with the turnaround time. And that's early next week, but anytime in between then, I can email you out the presentation or answer any questions you have. So thank you everyone for attending. Have a good day.
Leave it at that.